Investors are still processing the crypto market's insane selling pandemonium, which saw Bitcoin collapse from 30,000 to 20,000 in a matter of days, and now we find ourselves in another unpleasant situation, where firms are going bankrupt, blame is being tossed about, and portfolios have been smashed. There is a lot of fear-based stuff out there about how crypto is now dead. This video, on the other hand, will serve as a blazing beacon of light, reminding people that all winters, no matter how cold, come to an end, and that the next crypto summer will be just as amazing. Many of you have already seen this graph before, but it's a nice reminder that crypto is expanding at an exponential rate, with hundreds of millions of new users adding every cycle. And basically, this just demonstrates that crypto is expanding at the same rate as the internet, so expect a couple of 100 million additional crypto users during the next major bull run. So, let's start with the United States, where senators have just introduced crypto measures to regulate the business, and this is just a snapshot of what's going on. There are many bipartisan senators, mayors who are paid in Bitcoin, and there is now crypto lobbying, and they are all advocating for crypto legislation in the US. Then, not long ago, we learned that Fidelity will enable businesses to include Bitcoin investments in 401k programs. So, basically, Bitcoin is making its way into people's pensions, which is major news in and of itself. Each of these stories is enormous, and then there's Circle, the firm behind USC, which is currently the world's second largest stablecoin and has been tremendously successful. They're now breaking into Europe as they're creating a euro-backed stable currency called EuroC. They want to deploy this by the end of June, bringing a massive stable coin into Europe. At the same time, the governor of the Bank of England keeps warning be prepared to lose all your money in crypto. But then, all of a sudden, we want to make Britain a crypto center, says the UK digital minister. Also, the UK has become the latest Western country to rush to become a crypto hub. The tide is rising. Then, on the other side of the planet, in Australia, they recently issued their Bitcoin ETF, and while the price has decreased significantly, do the Australians realize that now is a good moment to invest in that ETF? Also, more recently, Australia awarded BTC Markets, which is essentially a crypto exchange, a financial services license. Following that, Visa intends to introduce Bitcoin and cryptocurrency cards throughout Latin America. As you may be aware, Visa, one of the world's largest payment corporations, has unveiled a series of crypto-enabled cards that will allow users to spend Bitcoin purchases. Also, we know that Deloitte is one of the largest accountancy businesses. They're collaborating with the New York Digital Investment Group to assist businesses incorporate Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So Deloitte aims to enable blockchain and digital asset-based services across various domains, including Bitcoin goods such as banking rewards programs and others. Also, every now and then we read in the news that Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, is gaining clearance and expanding into new markets. Just in the last few weeks, we've had Bahrain, Dubai, and Binance is being licensed and expanding into new countries every few weeks, and all of these stories covered have only been in the last few weeks. Clearly, some fantastic advancements are taking place, and the framework is being built for the next major bull run in cryptocurrency. Meanwhile, one of the main themes of this video is to not simply keep an eye on everything that is going on. However, you must exercise extreme caution in allowing thoughts and views into your mind at this time. Unfortunately, as humans, we are all highly susceptible to being swayed by remarks and ideas in the following 6 to 12 months. We really need to stand guard at the entrance of our thoughts, and I strive to dismiss 99 people's viewpoints in order to focus on the few people I believe are truly worth listening to. So, as a sort of a bonus, I believe there's one person who's really worth listening to, and that is the creator of Binance. He claimed that there's a carnage going on out there. Hunker down and make sure you can survive, which I believe is the most crucial element. This signals to me that I should avoid using excessive leverage and staying out of the market. Basically, the crash is when the great majority of people lose hope in crypto. In 2017, we thought 20K was insane, and now we believe 20K. Only a few years ago, a Bitcoin price of 20K was considered a tremendous bubble. People couldn't believe it had risen so high. It was utterly unsustainable. Yet just a few years later, we believe the same number is now horribly low. It's dropped to this ridiculous 20,000 level, which really puts things into perspective. Remember, this just indicates that the sector is expanding. Moving on, there's another great news from today. So Coinbase is discontinuing its Pro edition of their exchange. They're effectively destroying it and replacing it with something they're just calling Advanced Mode, which will be more powerful. This makes great sense on the main app right now because Coinbase versus Coinbase Pro has been a terrible system for a long time. It's not at all streamlined. They are two independent applications and platforms, as well as a paid version of the other. It's always been a little uncomfortable, and it means that many people miss out on things that they might have had access to, and that could have saved them a lot of money, just because they didn't realize they were accessible. This is meant to solve that problem, which should be excellent news for Coinbase users. Of course, Coinbase could have taken this as an opportunity to tweak their charge structure in order to extract more money from its clients. They go into the institutional vein of being an exchange and begin to compete with FTX in that sense, which would make commercial sense for Coinbase. Another thing is that Coinbase's share price has dropped dramatically in the previous year or two. They went public last year in 2021 to great acclaim. I believe their IPO went out for $300 per share. It is currently selling for a fraction of that, and the firm is in a similar predicament to Robinhood in that it is horribly undervalued. Still, we need to remember the fact that crypto exchanges in general are going through a rough patch. As the crypto bear market begins, investors will begin to flee, and they have already begun to do so. Also, Binance has erased all costs for Bitcoin trading, which will attract a lot of people, and I believe we will witness a race to the bottom. This is what we witnessed with traditional brokerages when Robinhood appeared and provided commission-free trading. Over the next several years, we'll see cryptocurrency exchanges follow suit, eroding the margins and revenues of firms like Coinbase. Moving on, let's talk about something I don't typically discuss in this channel. So Vladimir Putin delivered a rather lengthy speech recently. He said things like Western inflation is out of control. There is an energy problem, an impending recession, excessive money printing, and the West is a net importer. You can locate the speech if you want, but it's essentially the same sort of thing Putin says every couple of weeks when he does these types of talks. There wasn't anything groundbreaking there, but what was interesting was how it all tied together at the end, and he basically spoke about how the euro and the dollar are losing their position as the world's reserve currency, and that this is the end of a unipolar world in which the US dominates everything. And so I thought I'd just very briefly discuss this and offer my opinion on it. In terms of global power, the United States has most likely passed its pinnacle. It's certainly not nearing the end of its reign. So Putin effectively made the point that monetary sanctions, specifically those imposed by the United States and the West in general, lock up Russia's foreign currency reserves and prevent them from being used. That erodes the value of those foreign currencies in the first place, and he's exactly correct that it does, and he's effectively indicated that we've already seen the beginning of the end of the US dollar and the euro as reserve currencies. Now the issue with his statement is that there is no evidence to back this assertion. The euro and the dollar account for around 85% of global reserves. Unfortunately, there is nothing in the ruble. Putin was promoting the concept that it will migrate to commodities reserves, but there isn't much evidence to show this is the case. There are many crypto followers out there stating that Putin stated that he will return to Bitcoin, but he did not, and there is no proof to support this allegation. I do believe that the United States days as the international reserve currency are numbered, but we're talking about a century or so until that happens.